Heritage Television. Promoting African culture and heritage at its best. From talk shows that concern you to both local and international news that relates to you. From grassroots football to African children's programs. Heritage Television. We cover your social and special events like weddings, birthdays, church anniversaries and so on, and broadcast them live on our apps and online. Heritage Television, broadcasting everything about culture and heritage. Heritage Television. We've got it covered. Do download our apps on both Android, iOS and Windows mobile platform. Heritage Television, your very own TV station.
Before he went to
we will be going into skeletons, but it's not.
Heritage Television. Promoting African culture and heritage at its best. From talk shows that concern you to both local and international news that relates to you. From grassroots football to African children's programs. Heritage Television. We cover your social and special events like weddings, birthdays, church anniversaries and so on, and broadcast them live on our apps and online. Heritage Television, broadcasting everything about culture and heritage. Heritage Television. We've got it covered. Do download our apps on both Android, iOS and Windows mobile platform. Heritage Television, your very own TV station.
Hi, I'm Zandis, owner of Zandis Hair and Beauty. We're located in Newsham Shopping Centre. This is the only Afro-Caribbean owned store in the southeast of London. The challenges I faced is if you don't walk through my door, then the shop won't be here anymore. One of the things that I talk about is that, you know, a customer came in a few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, and we didn't have a product, and she went out onto the high street, and, you know, her coming back and feeding back to us that the guy in the high street store told her that, you know, they would sell her anything that we sell in the store, they would do it for a cut price. So it means that if I sell something, for example, for £1, they would sell it to her for 50 pence. And he told her that, you know, he wanted to crush me because I wouldn't be here in the next 2 months. Now, that was quite fundamental, and I just saw that, you know, as the only black shop in Lewisham and in southeast London, and, you know, for the high street who has got a chain of stores saying that they were going to crush me, I found that really sad, and there was a lot of discussion that we could have about that. So what I would say is that, you know, I don't really don't want to get into that, but what I'm saying is that if you don't come in and walk through my door and support us, then, you know, our community, the Afro-Caribbean community, we would never have our own store. We spend a lot in this industry, you know, we spend billions and billions, and yet when you look around, there's very few of us. I'm the only one in the southeast of London. So if you think about that, then you can think about all over the UK how many Afro-Caribbean owned store there are. So what I would encourage is that, the more people walk through my door is the more that, I am here to stay and we can expand, and the more others will join in and open their own store.
This is why we need to support our own black businesses. If I can come down here from far, I'm sure you can. Come on, if we need to build up one another in the area, support black businesses. Now make your way down.
And it's not other. I will kill you with grammar today. And it's not other than. You're getting a clue now. Ladies and gentlemen, today I present to you Mr. Jide Chord, the Juju Lambada maestro himself. It's a pleasure, my brother.
My pleasure.
How are you?
Jossy Lad.
My buddy.
The one and only. DJ Jossy Lad.
Your photo.
Your photo. I'm for later. I'm happy to be here on Heritage TV, Tiwantiwa TV, Tiwa Gongoni. Anyway, over to the anchor. I'm here to say very little and to listen.
Don't worry. You'll be saying more than very
Will I be saying more?
I will ask everything.
Okay.
Anything, everything, and everything.
Okay. I have nothing to hide. I got no skeletons.
No. We won't be doing. We will be going into skeletons, but we want people to go back with you.
Okay.
Back into time.
Okay.
Let's start from where it all started. Where did it all start? Give us, if you want to put the music thing apart now, we'll come back to that later.
Okay. Yeah.
A little bit of background about yourself. People want to know you, what you did, what school you went to. If you want to tell us, just tell us a bit about yourself, family background, whatever.
Okay, my name is Jide Chord. My mom always tells me not to do that. That's parents for you. Anyhow, yeah, I am an indigenous of Abeokuta and Ijebu.
Wow.
What do you call that? Mixed race, Abi?
Yeah, mixed race.
Anyway, Ogo proper. Schooling, went to a fairly good school. I was lucky. My parents came back from the UK. I've been to when I was in London. Anyway, went to Corona. Ended up in Igbobi College.
Which of the Corona is it called, Papa?
The original Corona.
Oh, okay.
Was in Yaba.
Yaba.
If I have to say, yeah. You remember? Yeah.
I would know Corona because I went to St. Mary's and we were rivals.
Okay. So I ended up in Igbobi College. After that, because I make excuses for myself now, because I finished my O-levels quite young. I was like 14 and a half years old exactly when I finished, which was strange to people then. It's no more a big deal.
No big deal now.
Then, I couldn't go straight into higher education. Thank you very much. Anyhow, I ended up working for Punch newspapers. Somebody took me on in Punch and I became a junior reporter. So Punch newspaper actually sponsored me into NIJ.
Okay.
So that's how I got into journalism. Ogbak. Yeah. NIJ then was in Akmobon. And Baba Jakondi was our principal.
Yes,
I'm big enough now in Shako. Before he went to Victoria Island and before he ended up in Ogba. So I am a trained journalist. But then again, whilst working in journalism, I worked under the tutelage of people like Mewa Detiba, Dayo Wright. We were called features writers then,
yes,
instead of entertainment. But somehow I dabbled into entertainment. In the process of interviewing stars and celebrities, I met a gentleman called Professor Pella.
The main man.
And what did he do?
Professor Pella.
He asked me how much did they pay you. You're bright gone. I'm going, you're bright. Why bright gone? You know some for Punch. You know, we are 18 naira become my double it.
Straight away.
I actually started Bisha Stanley. Yeah, I just disappeared. Very irresponsible of me.
We are talking money now.
It wasn't the money, to be quite honest. It was the allure. It was the wanted to go into show business, understanding how these things work. I always wanted to be Jide Chord. I knew a long time ago while I was in Ibobi College that I would be Jide Chord. That was always there. That was always in sight. So anyhow, I worked for Professor. Everybody went against me. I'm on Nigbago, telling magic, I'm on Tokawe, but I would say I contributed to changing Professor's image. To what Nigerians would call a corporate image rather than the typical. Professor always wanted to have that finesse and all that. He had it all in him, but the marketing, my brain was fresh. I was a teenager then, so we did a lot of things.
Love ambition,
and
the will to go.
Yeah. So that wraps up my education. What else would you like to know, sir? Or shall I just rant on?
Well,
that's what to say.
It's your show. You can go on and on and on because I know the more you say, the more people want to know.
The more they want to know.
How did it all begin here in the UK? How did you end up in the UK, first of all?
In the UK, okay. Okay, let me just continue. Yeah. After working for Pella, I think my mom went into fasting and prayer. Anyhow, my family and family friends spoke to me that I could do better with my life, and I just been with Professor. I should go back into school. I said, school,
you don't taste the money.
So they said, would you like a job in the bank? Because I had good qualifications. One thing I used to do then, if you are my oga or you are my parents, Jide, Shane, Kobai, because I know me, I will do both. I will satisfy you and satisfy myself. Yeah. So I always did well formally I will have documents to show. Waste time now. So I got a job in a bank. Brilliant. So I started working in the bank.
Which bank?
It was National Bank, defunct National Bank, they call it now. Anyhow, I rose through the ranks in the National Bank because, like I said, the brain was still fresh. I took banking exams, got reasonably fast promotion. I ended up in foreign exchange, and you know what that used to mean in those days? Let me call it to go.
That's it. Well, never mind what you used to be there. I don't know. Nowadays, that could mean eating dollars. You know what I mean?
Anyhow, so as a young guy, but all the money I was making, I was plowing it back into my musical career.
Brilliant.
I was developing my musical skills in church. Church has been very, very essential, has played a very pivotal role in my musical development. I don't really have formal qualifications in music. The only formal education I got in music, I got after I became popular. I actually went for a year course in sound engineering because I think that there's a dearth of sound engineers in Nigeria space generally. So I knew they were messing up my sound.
Yeah.
It was possible. I used to have to hire, you would know me, non-Nigerian people to run my engineering.
That's right.
But I had to go and learn it. I went to a college here for a year while I was star. But my parents lost spoon really. You know, that's the way to go. So that's the only formal education I had in music. Back to what I was saying, I went into banking. I was in National Bank for 6.5 years, and then when Nigeria was getting back on, you know, that is what Jide in law.
Which way now?
No, that can share it. I became passive.
Which way
now? Another thing, it was also strategic. Jokes apart, I thought it felt like the market was saturated then. Imagine what it is now.
Yeah.
1988. Okay, I had tried reggae music, played like Sonny Okosun, done everything, but I kept close to church music. And I just thought, I'm going to be the Ajabota called Juju. My proper marketing plan, I'm telling you now, yeah. And this is probably the first time I'm putting it this way. Maybe you would make me feel relaxed so much. I'm just on that boy in the mirror.
Don't worry, you're a rock steady. You're a rock steady show now. Hey, I'm photo now.
anyhow, yeah, I thought, okay, I'll go to England because I could.
Yeah.
My family had been coming on holidays and all that. I had the wherewithal to come here. I thought, okay, I'll go to England and do that in I'll do it. Yeah. So I came. Of course, I did the first, you know what you have to do. Get yourself well established, sort your papers out, and I launched myself. I relaunched myself. I started at Jide Chord, but let's just leave that side. In Nigeria, as a gospel musician, funny enough. Really? If I started singing about condoms, to you alone, see, it's my life.
Was that juju gospel or just general gospel? Praise and worship?
Oh, no. It was juju gospel. It was just, I'm probably the first juju gospel musician in Nigeria. There's a lot of firsts, so, but remember, claim it for me. But I was probably the first person that experimented with the Sunny Ade sound, Dele Abiodun sound, with gospel lyrics.
So all this time when you were working, is that where you actually learned to play the guitar and one or two other instruments?
Okay, I learned, the first instrument I learned to play, the one that comes naturally is drumming.
Yeah.
I don't know where I picked that up. My first public performance was when I was 5 years old in Corona. And I remember when Mrs. Phillips, when you go woman like this, we say, hey, Jide, go ahead and do me. I say, to me, I felt everybody could do it, but I must have been doing something unique. At the end of year party, which would be December in those days, she would always push me in front. I would do some drumming, do something. Everybody would give me a standing ovation. I remember a standing ovation, and when I told my mom, she said, you were 5 years old. So that drumming kept going. But playing electronic or tonal instruments was in Igobi College. I was quite small in school, so I couldn't do any contact sports. So during games period, when everybody else is doing football, you know, useless you. I used to beat you guys in football. Used to beat you cricket. Which secondary school did you do? Secondary college. And when you told me don't start.
You want to open another topic? Okay, well, I can start it. We'll have that one. We'll have that one for next time.
But you have, you know, allow breaks.
You are trying to compare Chelsea to Middlesbrough. Look at this man.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing again.
I forgive you. I know.
Anyhow, it was in Igobi College. I could not do contact sports. They would try me in the goalpost. Nothing happened. So I had to go into the chapel every evening and mess about on the piano.
Okay.
Swimming and piano. Those are the two things I was known for in Igobi College. Because that one did not mean any. It could be physical, but you can either can swim or you cannot. Or you swim. Yes, sir. And the piano.
You must have definitely got some quality time on the piano. Some time to yourself. A little bit of peace and quiet.
Exactly.
Where you can really calm the brain down.
You're taking me back to the ambience of that chapel as you're saying it now. You know, proper chapel was a proper English chapel we had on the grounds of Igobi College. I would play the piano, make my mistakes, play. I learned to play the piano then. After secondary school, got back home, my mom took us into the Celestial Church. There's a policy in Celestial Church that they must not close the church at any time. That's the concept of well, I don't know whether they can still do that now with the current situation. Because they will have a lot of quality expensive equipment, musical equipment that people donated, that we could go any time of the day or night to practice with.
Brilliant.
So I taught myself the guitar. Oh no, with the help of a few. Guitar was a bit more complex because it involved tuning. The piano is usually tuned. But the guitar you had to learn to tune. In no time I became choir master of a very big choir, and I used that choir. They thought they were using me. I used them to prepare myself to become Jide Chord. Because I had free band, a whole band. I taught people Omele, taught them this, brought Congo, brought this, brought that.
And coordinated them all together. You see, that is the making of a very smart man. I've always said it. Someone once said it to me, it's good to have a PhD degree in common sense. This man has it. So when did it all now start in the UK?
In the UK, my first gig, I cannot say when we started rehearsing. We rehearsed a lot because people were semi-pros or amateurs, and I wanted a pro group to present to the world. But our first gig was in July 1991. I don't remember when we actually printed the cards. I don't know how long it took us. I can't remember clearly how long it took us to get that first proper gig. But it was in July 91 that our first date pay. Jide Chord of London.
That was your own personal show. But before then, you've been playing in functions?
That's true, that's true. You know too much, you know about me more than me.
You forgot that we both got an award in, was it 1999? 1989.
Huh?
London, Mr. Ikume, Dr. Ikumelo,
yeah, they organized something in Golden House, I've been called.
Absolutely. We had it at a Weekway Community Center in Peckham.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway,
anyhow,
about society.
Yeah, when I came to this country, yeah, before I became Jide Chord, I'll tell you that angle that you know too much, Daddy. Anyhow, I actually performed within 2 weeks of arriving in this country. I had an Olusegun Baba Yodabo. He's of blessed memory now. Yes. Within a week of me being in his church, said, what about your morning call now? Mama, àwọn èèyàn mi kàn fẹ́ ṣe wedding, ẹ wá lọ kọrin fún wọn. So it was myself, Demola Balogun, his own boys from the Celeste Circle, and TJ singing Fuji. Yeah. So we were doing that. We were doing that. But I don't know whether I should say this, but the truth has to be told. As that band was progressing, the fact that people did not understand that there's a show and there's a business. It's called show business. There's a business angle to it. There's a serious aspect to it. I thought these people will spoil what I want to do before I even start. So I pulled out of that band, and that band died a natural death. So I you know, yes, and I took my time to get everything in place. When I groomed enough people to do what I wanted to do, we came out in 1991.
Okay, and you definitely did enjoy a very good spell. And tell us about some of the big events you either attended. I know you did some shows yourself. You played in some venue. You had regular nights.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know.
They don't.
But you have achieved a lot. Tell us some of the things you achieved in the UK.
I always knew that my work, for it to be meaningful, had to go beyond my community. So even what the Nigerians know of Jide Chord was only 40% of Jide Chord. It's only the people that worked with me, or people in the business, people in the know like you, would know that 60% of my work was outside of the community. Yes. We toured a lot. The Arts Council used me a lot. I wrote papers or booklets about entrepreneurship, black entrepreneurship, for the Arts Council of England. The Department of Trade and Industry took me to Japan, Barbados, the US, performing and talking to people. The Arts Council used me to hold workshops in schools up and down this country. Yes. They didn't just use me, they paid me well. Yeah. So,
and all this time, you were actually advertising proper traditional Yoruba Juju music.
Yeah. I was very selfish. I would say
very good ambassador.
Yoruba music. Yeah. Everywhere I went, it was all Pasero mi, Ololufẹ́ mi, Ayodoshu, play your ganga, Veshara, play your drums, shekere. I was true to my culture.
And it's good to know that some of the guys then, good you mention Ayodoshu, Veshara. It's good to know. You see, when we get to this stage where no disrespect to them, on Yoruba man so it is the egg that will become the cock. Some of them have now grown into bigger things.
Yeah.
You know, Feisha is doing very well, your brother, and is following in your footsteps. And I know those shoes.
Yeah. And then after they are set,
it's a big exponent now.
Yeah.
For the African talking drum and our culture and heritage. It's met a lot of people. It's met the Queen.
Yeah.
He's really doing well for himself. So
we have the certain dynamics of the one they were in the band, Solek, Yinka Kundayo, who else? Too many of them. Even the great Don Jazzy was playing bass for a number of years, and A lot of people pass through my hands, and thank God today.
It's good. It's good. Right. Why did you move back to Nigeria after a while, and what did you get up to in Nigeria?
I had to go to Nigeria. It was always the plan to now re-export my music back to Nigeria. And I was poured on by Alhaji Wasiu Ayinde. Imagine he plays Fuji, but he was down my neck. Jide, can you go to drum by? Can you go to drum by when he heard my first album? Okay. You know, maybe at first he thought, I want to try London. When we now met, can you go to drum by? So he kept pressurizing me. But it was always my plan too. But like, I must acknowledge that King Son, I didn't mention it, but Wasiu didn't leave me alone.
Okay.
You must come back, you must come back. So, and I am better off for it today. I would still confidently say that any art has to be accepted in its own locality, has to be appreciated. Or else, it may be an adulterated version. It's like people tell me, let's just digress a bit, that the pizza we eat here, an Italian would not eat it. We eat American pizza. It's not the origin of pizza. The Chinese food we eat here, they've tuned it a bit to fit the palate here. Absolutely. So it's not what they will eat in China. So for you to get the real mix, the real thing, to prove yourself, Nigeria. They will learn from you, and you will learn from them, and you become better for it. Absolutely. So I did that, and you know, Nigeria being the UK is a microcosm, or what's that word? Anyhow, yeah, in Nigeria you turn the radio on in the morning, you've got Yemi Eleburu more talking, speaking your wow. You know what I mean? So you got him, you got Uncle Benga Deboye going crazy, doing straight version of that. Yes. So you become richer, you gain more, and then you are appreciated more. You can show your skills. Like I went into Nollywood and showed them that I can do what you can do. You never try to do what I do. I'm the toughest. I just went there and did a few things with them to show love and to show skills as well. So I may not have been able to do that in the UK. Definitely. And that adds to your texture, to what your fans see you as on the long run.
Besides, it takes a great man to it's a daunting challenge to just say, look, I'm going to Nigeria. We know that it's always going to be, it's not an easy jungle out there. I'm not calling Nigeria a jungle. I'm just saying survival there is something. But, I mean, I'm proud to say I did the same too. I went to Nigeria, stayed there for 4.5 years, and I learned my lesson. Like you said, I made my mistakes, learned from my mistakes, and I'm stronger for it. I'm more experienced now. Right. I'm going to ask you one last question before we go on a break. And it's going to be, where would you say Jide Chord is today? Where is Jide Chord now? Considering the old journey from where it began and how far it's taking you, and also anticipating where you're going in the future, where would you say you are now?
Like the Yoruba say, Jide Chord is work in progress. I'm always yearning to learn more. I would say I'm in a comfortable place in the industry. People, I think, from the feedback I get, rate me just below the guys, the top guys. The success is not even about the number of years. People like Yinka Ifele came in and put themselves on a high pedestal because they are delivering. And Tiayo Balogun, there's a set of 6 or so juju musicians in front, and we are the next in line. I would say, honestly, some people may think otherwise, but I see myself remaining relevant, and I'm happy for that. I'm grateful to God and to my fans for that people still reckon with me. But I've stuck to my guns. I don't want it to be a desperado kind of musician. I don't want to be desperate. I'm just hoping that what I do, people value it and love it.
Thank you. Well, we're gonna go for a break in a few seconds. Just to tell you that you've been listening to, watching Mr. Jide Chord, the Juju Lambada exponent himself, and is talking to you with DJ Jossy on Heritage Television and the program is called Rock Steady Time. So we'll take a break now, and we'll be back with Mr. Jide Chord shortly.
And then we were there for about another hour.
It's easy to ignore something, especially when we're busy. But spotting cancer sooner could save your life. If you notice something unusual, Cancer Research UK are here to help.
Yeah, welcome back to the program, and Mr. Jide Chord is here, and we'll be asking him a few more questions before we end the program. Now, I can see that you're here with us in the UK. We know you. I mean, your mission to Nigeria. You have. I mean, I know you were based in Nigeria, but you've always been in and out of the country, because here is home as well.
Yeah, it's home as well.
As much.
Yeah, one Nigeria. You see, man, so I'm Nigeria. Okay, I'm that is home to me. Another problem. Sorry, you were going to ask a question, but let me just chip this in. I always have this problem. They will always call me Jide Chord of London. Man, how much do me continue to call London? Do they have to add of London?
This is Jide Chord in London.
Jide Chord, OT2FQ of London.
So there you have it. As from today, authoritatively, you have to call him Jide Chord, not Jide Chord of London. Yes. So are you back in the UK now?
Yes, I am back in the UK for about a year.
Okay.
That's another stage of Jide Chord. I've just decided to come back to base, do my thing again. I've had a lot of things going on, blah blah blah. I just want to show them that it can be done. Whatever that means will come to fruition later. Don't let's break it down too much. I want to show them that it can be done. I've come back.
And it will be done.
It will be done by God's grace.
With determination, everything comes naturally. Without a shadow of doubt.
Without a shadow of doubt.
Yes. So what's next for me, Mr. Jide Chord? What is the next chapter? What have you got planned? What should we be expecting? We, your fans here in the UK, and your fans all over the world. The world is a small place now. This is the age of.
To be quite honest, I'm a very factual. I try my best to be factual. Juju music itself has become like classical music.
Yeah.
Classical, not in that street language. Classical meaning funky. Classical as in classical music. So it takes pride of place as almost elitist music, to be quite honest. So we have to treat it delicately as such.
Yeah.
So we don't just throw ourselves into concerts without themes. We don't throw ourselves into jumps per se. We wait for proper events. It started out as Yoruba party music. When they are ready,
the fella is there.
At the radio, confess 16 by the 24. I keep telling people that Juju music serves the purpose for serious life milestones.
Yes, sir.
When there's a milestone, there's a wedding, I'm first wedding, Jide Chord, they will find a juju musician, no matter what kind of music they listen to. They will find a juju musician. Even before I left here, in those days when we were all still young, those young bro, they will find me and say, Uncle, you please, you have to be the one. Nothing, whatever I did. Aha. So juju, that is the way I handle juju. I'm not going to do any loud things. But people will see us out there. There's a concert in line. The theme is being developed that you will hear about. But essentially, it's about parties. It's about proper partying. I've learned a few things from Nigeria. Grandeur, come to me. So I'm not going to blah blah blah. Album, no. So the album, we don't really make money on albums. We'll do downloads for you. We'll do singles that you can download online. But I will be there on ground for people and show them that it can be done.
And it will be done. Right. Who are your idols? Do you have any idols and inspirations? Obviously, you must have been inspired into what you're doing today by certain people, and you must have some idols.
There are too many, too numerous to list. But as a young man, there were like 5 people that I listened to, Nigerian musicians that I listened to a lot. I listened to a lot of music, a cacophony of colors in my head musically, but there were people that I listened to everything they did.
Selective.
Obviously, Sonny Ade and Obe, because I wanted to go into juju music, Sonny Okosun, Alhaji Sikiru Ayinde Barrister, and very importantly, Haruna Shola. If people listen to me properly, they'll find those 5 people. They find those 5 people. Even the songs that I sing that you think they're just straight. That's a mix of High Life and Haruna Shola.
A mix of Haruna Shola and the Bakari, if I'm not mistaken.
You know what you're talking about?
Music is like we style, like fashion style. It's always circulating.
Yeah.
It's always going round, and it comes round, and it goes round. So I'm not surprised where even in the so-called hip-hop world, music of yesteryear is being used and refined now and recycled. And that's good. It's good to know that whatever way you look at it, music is never ever gonna die.
Never gonna die. Never.
Anything coming up soon?
It's embedded in music. That's the treble clef. That's my only tattoo.
I think I'm gonna do a headphone tattoo too.
You need a headphone?
Yeah, I'm jealous. Are we to be expecting any single out soon? Any album or any pre-launch, anything at all?
I will.
Anything in the pipeline?
Because I'm here in the UK, I've stopped recording in the UK. Those, funny enough, my most famous albums were recorded by white people in the UK.
Yes.
Well, I'm going back to Nigeria to build a studio that will not be for me alone, be for a lot of people. But then I will use the new. I would want to record my next collection of songs in that studio. Yeah, I have one now, but I'm going to do a bigger one when I get back to Nigeria after a year. I'm taking a year out to be in the UK to show that it can be done and it will be done.
And don't forget to invite Heritage. Yes.
Heritage, come on.
And then once we're on here, finally, a lot of your fans have been in touch and they want to know your hobbies.
My hobby, I'm sure I've said this before. My hobby is cooking. Yeah, that's my.
To give me your address before you go. My hobby is eating.
Okay. I love cooking. I love trying new ideas in the kitchen. Funny enough.
Very good to know. I wouldn't say it's weird, but it's unique.
Okay.
You know, if a man takes cooking as his hobby, that's unique.
I like to put on an apron and.
I've heard a lot of people say that men make better cooks than women, but hey, ladies, hey, I'm not saying that, so we're not gonna go into that.
The
now.
most popular chefs in the world are men.
Right. He's trying to start something now. Michael Jackson said, "You just wanna be starting something." I'm not gonna let him. I'm going to ask you the final question, and then we're going to round it up.
Yeah.
And that is your advice for the youths of today and the young Yoruba musicians, the up-and-coming Yoruba or Juju musicians of this world.
Okay. That question is multifaceted. Young musicians generally be original, do your research, put something into the industry, and the industry will give you back. Juju music, which I'm very passionate about. We could do another program on that. So. Yes, I see a lot of laziness. I usually do not like to highlight the negative in things, but the truth has to be told. I see a lot of laziness in Juju music, and those Juju musicians are the ones that moan, music will pay, if you are going to be a covers band, they have to understand the concept of being a covers band and advertise yourself as such. Don't go and say, and at the end of the day, all they hear is another artist's songs. If that is what you can deliver, promote yourself as such, and people will buy that. Yeah. And you can live well off that. Yeah. There are covers bands, there are tribute bands. In fact, in Nigeria today, covers bands don't power you. I don't want to advertise any of them. I know my friends, they are my friends, but they do covers and they advertise themselves as such, and they do that. And there are tribute bands. Based on that. But a lot of people come out and pretend to be what they are not, and that is what restricts their career, and they get frustrated and moan and moan and moan. That is it's a serious topic that we may have to find another program to. I'm
sure I'll take you up on that.
Juju music, it needs to be spoken to. That you can come there. It's Yoruba folklore. There's a repertoire of thousands of songs that we all can use. Yes. If you don't have your own style, you don't have to. With all due respect, Yinka launched himself along those lines. Yeah. But he delivered properly until such a time when he started on his own. Yeah. And look at him today. He's an enigma. Yeah. But he was true to type. Yeah. So that I don't know whether people will get what I'm blabbing on about.
Well, Mr. Jide Chord, it's a great pleasure. Yes. Before you go, you have to talk about Eya Photo.
Eya Photo, this man here. This man here, I'm the interviewee. I'm the interviewer now. You see, in those days, he was doing the narrator. He was doing his thing. DJ, I want to number of Pangboro, play that DJ, Jossy, Rocksteady. Anyhow, but he was a friend. He wanted everybody to grow. This is a guy that is in London and plays mostly UK-based artists. I have that on good record, and he has kudos for that. Then he was asking us, he had me and my band talking every time. I don't play in Shrewsbury, and Scotland, and Wales. Hey, Eya Photo. He said everywhere you go, take pictures for record
posterity.
For posterity. Eya Photo. My band used to make fun of him. But that is the Eya Photo.
Anywhere they see me, even tomorrow. Anywhere, when I hear Eya Photo, I know it's one of you. It's a great pleasure. Pleased to have you here with us, and I'm sure this is the beginning of many things to come. Ladies and gentlemen, Jide Chord is back in the UK, so I know that when you go on the internet, or Facebook or whatever, and you Google Jide Chord, and you would be able to get in touch with him, and I'm sure he's going to be back in the studio for more programs, you know, and you would definitely pick up numbers and contact details about him. Or if not, you can simply go on Facebook or Google Heritage Television UK, and you will be able to speak to him. We're gonna go now, and it's been a pleasure having you once again on Rocksteady Time.
The pleasure is all mine.
And it's a pleasure having you viewers at home watch and listen to us on Heritage Television. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Hi, I'm Zandis. owner of Zandy's Hair and Beauty. We're located in Newsham Shopping Centre. This is the only Afro-Caribbean owned store in the southeast of London. The challenge that I faced is if you don't walk through my door, then this shop won't be here anymore. One of the things that I talk about is that, you know, a customer came in a few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, and we didn't have a product, and she went out onto the high street, and, you know, her coming back and feeding back to us that the guy in the high street store told her that, you know, they would sell her anything that we sell in the store, they would do it for a cut price. So it means that if I sell something, for example, for £1, they would sell it to her for 50 pence. And he told her that, you know, he wanted to crush me because I wouldn't be here in the next 2 months. Now, that was quite fundamental, and I just saw that, you know, as the only black shop in Lewisham and in southeast London, and, you know, for the high street who has got a chain of stores saying that they were going to crush me, I found that really sad, and there was a lot of discussion that we could have about that. So what I would say is that, you know, I don't really don't want to get into that, but what I'm saying is that if you don't come in and walk through my door and support us, then, you know, our community, the Afro-Caribbean community, we would never have our own store. We spend a lot in this industry, you know, we spend billions and billions, and yet when you look around, there's very, very few of us. I'm the only one in the southeast of London. So if you think about that, then you can think about all over the UK, how many Afro-Caribbean owned store there are. So what I would encourage is that, you know, the more people walk through my door is the more that, you know, I am here to stay and we can expand, and the more others will join in and open their own store.
This is why we need to support our own black businesses. If I can come down here from far, I'm sure you can. Come on, if we need to build up one another in the area, support black businesses. Now make your way down.
Heritage Television. Promoting African culture and heritage at its best. From talk shows that concern you to both local and international news that relates to you. From grassroots football to African children's programs. Heritage Television. We cover your social and special events like weddings, birthdays, church anniversaries and so on, and broadcast them live on our apps and online. Heritage Television, broadcasting everything about culture and heritage. Heritage Television. We've got it covered. Do download our apps on both Android, iOS and Windows mobile platform. Heritage Television, your very own TV station.